This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome one and welcome all to SimSpeed TV this beautiful Wednesday evening. It's time for round 3 of the Pro Truck Showdown from Phillip Island Circuit. Yes, indeed, we go back to the track that started it all back in Season 1, and we're sure to see more of the same kind of crazy racing that we've seen in this series for its entire existence so far. That, and we've got 26 drivers on the grid for this round as well, so that's certainly going to make the reverse grid second race more exciting. 3 races coming up for you tonight. I'm Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Cameron Dance, and well, Cam, we've seen 2 great rounds to kick off the season at Silverstone Historic and at Watkins Glen International, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Phillip Island brings.
Certainly very much looking forward to it, and if it's based on anything from what we've seen in the past, it's going to be an absolute cracker tonight, that's for sure. So yeah, 100% looking forward to tonight and seeing who's going to come out on top.
Indeed, we've got 2 round victors of the season to talk about already. Mitchell McLeod taking the first round at Silverstone, and then Martin Turner taking the round 2 victory at Watkins Glen. So we're really looking forward to seeing if someone new can rise to the top, or if either Mitch or Marty can make things a little bit better for the both of them. But we ride on board for the moment with Dwayne Priest, who is making his way out of the Siberia complex and through to Hayshed now, and really getting a taste for what this track is like in these Pro 2 off-road racing trucks. They have V8 engines, rear-wheel drive, a 3-speed automatic transmission that can be shifted manually, and plenty of weight transfer over the top of Lukey Heights and down into MG. Drivers, of course, in qualifying at the moment and rapidly running out of time to set their lap. They have 6 minutes, but they only have 1 lap that counts for their spot on the grid.
Certainly, and that 1 lap adds a whole lot of pressure that really does make qualifying that much more interesting, because you know that you can't make a mistake as a driver, and you really do have to set down a perfect lap at the end. So it does put a lot of pressure on the drivers, but at the same time it makes it really, really entertaining from a spectator's point of view.
That it does. So coming across the line of the first drivers to set a time, and there's Dwayne Priest with a 49.4, and he's immediately smashed by many other drivers. There goes Lockie Dalton to the top on a 1 minute 48.2, 5/10 ahead of Ashley Norman, as M. Scott List Ramler, who finished in second in the round at Silverstone, goes to the top. First driver into the 1 minute 47s as the times file on in. That's a great opening statement from Ramler.
Certainly is a very, very good opening statement from him. Aaron Dillon goes to P3 just now in 4th. Mitch McLeod P3 and tops those 2 drivers. So certainly some very, very quick times coming in, but we'll see what happens as the rest of the field decides to come across the line.
Here's Ryan Meyer. Across the line he goes, a 48.9. That puts him into position number 9, coming down the front straight, but it looks like no one can quite touch Ramler for now. Let's see what Sam Stride can do as he comes out of the final turn here. Across the start-finish line, it's not going to be at the quickest of times, so Stride setting a time not good for a top 10, I believe. What about Daniel Stevens in the number 3, a 49.1? Now, actually, both Meyer has gotten into the top 10, but Stevens just missing out on it. Here's round 2's winner, Martin Turner for Chicken Up Racing. Just exiting the final couple corners now. We've seen some great drives from Martin so far this season, and I think he could be one of the contenders for the title this year.
Certainly could be if he ends up turning up to all the rounds, which it sounds like he's going to be. So certainly is going to be up the pointy end of the field, and certainly is going to be one to watch, that's for sure. But not going to be another lap for him, as he's already completed his lap. Currently sits in P12, so a little bit down the order, but we'll certainly wait and see what he can do from here.
Nicholas Walsh then trying to fit one in the last few seconds before the session goes, but looks like he hasn't been able to set a time. Cade Donnelly as well, who has already set a time and is within the top 10 there in 7th place. Seems to not be able to complete a second time, as that is the grid decided for the first race of the night. It's Ramler and Dalton on the front row, with Mitchell McLeod and Aaron Dillon, last season's champions, starting from 4th place. Justin Howe and Harry Tompkins start side by side on the 3rd row, with Cade Donnelly and Ashley Norman behind them. It's Ryan Meyer and Mitch Dean who round out the top 10.
You have Stevens and Turner on row 6, row 7, Ben Snell and Damien Westbrook, Dwayne Priest and Brian Trees on row 8, row 9, Philip Howe and Dave Smith, and then rounding up top 20 on row 10, Todd Maxfield and Sam Stride.
And our record grid for this one, Alex Court and Nicholas Walsh line up side by side, and then we got the 4 drivers who didn't set times in the session: Gary Wellman, Nathan Allen, Jade Chandler and Ian Wilson, rounding out the 26 car field here, or 26 truck field rather, and it looks like the lights are about to go up, and we'll see what the drivers can do here, see if they can get the launch that they need from that slightly uphill start here at Phillip Island. The grid has been fully set, just waiting a few more seconds for the session to tick over, and we'll be able to see what goes on in this round of the Pro Truck Showdown. It's a very, very long wait. It looks like all of the drivers are on the grid now. Here we go. Round 3 is going to be go in just a few short seconds, and away they go. It's a very good start there from Ramler and Mitchell McLeod. A great start as well. Lockie Dalton tried to cover the inside to turn 1, but McLeod got him before he could, and now he's under pressure from Justin Howe and Aaron Dillon, and Dillon sweeping around the outside of Howe into turn 1 as they fan out in this opening sequence of the lap. McLeod up into 2nd place there, just behind Ramler, and advancing on him through the 2nd turn, the southern loop here at Phillip Island. And oh no, off the track goes Ramler, and that allows McLeod straight on through into the race lead, and he's losing ground on the run up to the Honda hairpin. Justin Howe trying his best to get a leg up on there, but Lockie Dalton now is the cork in the bottle as everyone files into the hairpin, and we're already seeing cars go around, and oh my goodness, tumbling over Damien Westbrook. His luck is the worst, I swear.
Certainly hasn't gone too well from there, and it certainly hasn't over the past few rounds.
Oh, Dwayne Priest too.
Found himself on the roof, and so is Dwayne Priest at turn 2, and he's still trying to get back onto 4 wheels, but I don't think that's going to be to any avail, unfortunately.
It's a big shame. It looks like it's going to be a retirement for Dwayne Priest, as I've just seen his engine blow. But now we focus on the Chicken Up boys, riding on board with Mitch Dean in 9th place. And he is chasing down Harry Tompkins just up ahead. And oh, there's plenty of advances happening behind him. Daniel Stevens just making contact with his teammate Martin Turner. And that's concertinaed back into Sam Stride and Ryan Meyer as well, who's about to go side by side. But the run onto the front straight here at Phillip Island through the final left-hander, it's almost flat out in these trucks, but you've got to be careful of running into the grass off the exit of the corner. That is lap 1 completed for these guys, and it is side by side between Harry Tompkins and Mitch Dean coming into turn 1, and we are on board with Dean as we ride into the sweeping first turn here at Phillip Island. You've actually got to brake and put a fair amount of lock in these trucks to get through the turn. It looks like there might have been an opportunity there for Dean, but no, Tompkins covering him off once again as he continues chasing Dean's teammate Ashley Norman.
Giving him a bit of a feed as well on the way through, so Norman's going to end up copping a whack and dropping back behind of Martin Turner, unfortunately. Not even get done by Daniel Stevens as well, so not exactly what he would hope for, Will Norman, but he's going to soldier on and keep going.
He certainly will. Looks like there's been a change for 2nd place. Justin Howe has he's been trying to get past Mitch McLeod, who has dropped for 3rd. And oh my goodness, there goes Mitch Dean up the inside of Daniel Stevens. Stevens trying to hold it around the outside of Siberia, but all three chicken up drivers trying their best to keep the pack behind. It looks like Dean hasn't quite been successful. Can Stevens get him around the outside? They have got the 141 of Ben Snell for company as well. A little bit of contact between the two of them, just barely managing to hold on. Oh my goodness, so much smoke being thrown up here as we ride on board with Ben Snell. He shifted wide in Lukey Heights and then straight into the back of Stevens down into MG, which puts him into Dean, which creates a massive pile up in the midfield, and the drivers behind are going to have a tough time picking their way through that.
That was a lot of contact and a lot of stuff going on. You had Stevens going up and over. You had a chicken up car off the road. You had everyone else getting involved and trying to make their way through, and somehow they've all managed to make it through.
Here comes Justin Howe for the race lead, coming into the first turn as the chaos continues in the midfield. Side by side with him, Scott List Ramler, and it looks like Ramler almost getting the better exit, but a tiny bit of contact between the two of them. That might put Ramler off slightly. Yeah, he's gone wide through Southern Loop. That allows Justin Howe to get on through on the exit and complete the move as they come out of the corner. And now Ramler is in trouble from Mitch McLeod, who moves alongside. And they're going to be side by side through Stoner, the sweeping turn 3. All three drivers together now, and Ramler's off the circuit on the run up to Honda. Can he keep it out of Mitch McLeod's side? Well, Mitch McLeod leaves him maroon, and it looks like they live to fight for another day. Down to Siberia then. McLeod, it seems, completing the move.
Back in the second place is Mitch McLeod, and he'll be hoping to try and get as close as he can to Scott List Ramler and then get on by to help his championship hopes, but certainly is going to probably be a little bit of hard work here with the fact that he's had some pretty good results.
He has indeed. In fact, all of these drivers have something to be proud of from the opening rounds of the season. They only have a couple of laps to go once they cross the line next, but back in the pack, things are still going. Whoa, hang on a minute. There goes Ramler up the inside of McLeod. And have a look at Aaron Dillon. He's gone right up to the back of these guys now, and he's looking to be opportunistic and get past Ramler himself. So Ramler's just shoved out of the way there through the penultimate turn here at Phillip Island and off the podium. So we have got Justin Howe, we got Mitchell McLeod, and we got last season's champion on the podium spots.
It's a very, very competitive top three at the moment with the way that it's looking, and no one's going to give an inch at all with this, how close it is and how strong this draft has been around this Phillip Island circuit. So it's certainly going to be very, very competitive, and anybody's guess as to who's going to come out on top with this one.
It looks like there's been a problem for Todd Maxfield, much like with Dwayne Priest. It looks like Maxfield has retired from this one. I see him falling down the order. Damien Westbrook, meanwhile, down in 19th and trying his best to recover just behind Gary Wellman, and very close quarters through the first turn. And I love these onboard shots, and you see just how deep Westbrook goes into the turns. This is an entire train of cars at the back end of the top 20. Alex Court's just up ahead of these guys, and well, I think Westbrook has something to worry about from behind as well, because Mitch Dean is on his way through there. Mitchell McLeod trying to be on his way through into the lead. He did have it on lap 1, but Justin Howe put paid to that, so he's got a bit more to work out. There's been a big pile-up or a crash of some kind at the hairpin, and it looks like that is Damien Westbrook on his side yet again.
It's one of those. I think he needs to do what they did for one of the BJR cars one year, where they stuck something stuck the sponsors upside down so you could actually read it when he goes over. Yeah,
I mean, we might have to check that out on replay if we have the time, but we might not. Either way, it looks like Damien Westbrook was an innocent victim in all of that. He tried to overtake Alex Court, made some contact, and then Gary Wellman and Mitch Dean piled into him from behind, but that's going to be much of a muchness for Mr. Westbrook. We focus on our leader, Justin Howe, as he crosses the line to begin his final lap here. He's got Mitch McLeod and Scott List Ramler right behind him, looking to capitalize. It looks like Aaron Dillon has fallen back slightly from this top 3 pack, but There's still a chance for him to get through. Mitchell McLeod almost saw an opportunity there, and Ramler gives him a tag from behind, which forces Howe wide, and that's going to allow McLeod through on the inside on the exit of the second turn. But it looks like Howe's managed to put down the power a little bit more efficiently thanks to the wider line, and Ramler's going to try and capitalize on this once again. McLeod ahead in the braking zone, but it looks like Justin Howe just trying to squeeze through on the inside. Bit too much oversteer from the both of them. McLeod goes very wide and almost allows Ramler through, but the throttle application was hooked up very nicely there for McLeod in the number 40, and it looks like the top four together once again as it's side by side for 5th and 6th between Lockie Dalton and Cade Donnelly. It looks like Cade Donnelly has managed to get that position from the number 8, but only a couple of turns left after this flowing sequence for our leaders. McLeod now is going to go up the inside of Lukey Heights. He's got it. He will almost get it done there on Justin Howe, but it looks like Howe's going to have the inside for MG. Can he fight this lead again? McLeod trying to move over to cover him in the middle of the circuit. Oh no, McLeod's gone too deep. He's off into the grass, and he has gone from the lead back into 4th place. Justin Howe then is got the box seat for victory in his sights, and Ramler, little bit of a slide on the exit of the penultimate turn. Can Aaron Dillon snatch 2nd place at the line? I don't know if that's going to work out, but Mitchell McLeod will be ruining that braking zone into MG because it has gifted Justin Howe this race victory. M. Scott List Ramler in 2nd place, and last season's champion Aaron Dillon completing the podium. What a finish!
Certainly is, and drag race to the line by the Chicken Up boys as well, and that's going to be in favour of Ashley Norman as well. And certainly was a bit of a battle going on between the likes of Stride, Snell, Meyer and Howe, and they're all going to sort themselves out in the end, and Sam Stride's going to be the victor out of that little battle too.
As the trucks continue to go across the line, the number 23 of Jade Chandler crossing the line as we flick away to our unofficial results, and that's your top 10. Great drive from Justin Howe to face off the pressure from Mitch McLeod and take the position back when it mattered. Cade Donnelly completing the top 5 too. That is a strong drive from Cade after starting in 7th. Lockie Dalton will want something better. Started in 2nd but fell back to 6th. So now we move forward into the second race of the night, where these results that you see up on screen, well, they're going to be reversed for the grid, and that basically means that Ian Wilson effectively has pole, but as far as I can see, he didn't take to the grid or qualify, so it looks like Dwayne Priest might be our pole sitter.
It's certainly going to make a little bit of a, I guess, a consolation for Dwayne Priest to start on the front row at least after being tipped over at turn 2 on lap 1, so he'll certainly be trying to stay up there for majority of the race, if not the whole time, and come away with the victory.
Here's Todd Maxfield then, the last classified finisher from this first race, all the way down in at 24th position. He had to take a pit stop, I believe, to correct some damage, and that is going to be the way of things for him. But now we move on into the second race of the night. We got 2 extra laps to deal with here, and it's going to be a tough ride for the drivers that finished up the front because they're going to be starting at the back. There's Dwayne Priest in the effective pole position, not taking up the first grid slot because that's supposed to be taken by Ian Wilson, but once again, Wilson has not entered the server. Only got 30 seconds until the green flag will drop and we can go racing once more. But I think Damien Westbrook, who's going to be starting in effective 3rd place, is going to want something much better from this one. He's right in the box seat, considering he's starting all the way up at the front of the grid. The revs are rising. The drivers are getting ready to conduct another race start. Green flag flies once again, and it is a good start from Dwayne Priest. He managed to get the run off the line beautifully. Maxfield moving over to cover Westbrook, but the top 3 of already see we're broken away from the field as it's 3 wide between Mitch Dean, Daniel Stevens and Gary Wellman. They sort themselves out as they fan out into turn 1 once again. Wellman making a little bit of contact with Mitch Dean on the run up into turn 2 as they make their way through. A little bit wide from Todd Maxfield through the first turn, and oh no, bit of contact between Nathan Allen and Daniel Stevens on the exit of the turn as well. So Damien Westbrook then in second place. He's fending off the giant pack behind, and you see Dwayne Priest with a bit of a gap to start things off. Might have gone a bit too deep into the hairpin though. Oh no, he just managed to pull it up, and oh no, looks like not many people have managed to do that behind them. That's a huge pile up. Mitch Dean, Gary Wellman, Brian Trezise, Nathan Allen. My goodness, I'm losing count. Nicholas Walsh as well, Philip Howe too.
Not quite entirely sure what happened there. It looked like Wellman had all fours locked up and then just got drilled from behind by Trezise in a massive rate of knots, and then from there it all just turned to absolute chaos. I don't know how everybody else managed to make it through, but it was very, very lucky, and yeah, what an absolute mess it was.
Yeah, and it looks like it's continuing a bit here for Mitchell McLeod, who finished 4th in the first race, trying to sneak up the inside of the number 23. Oh no, it looks like Martin Turner has been hit out of the way. M. Scott List Rambler making his way through, just giving Turner a good old bump, and now trying to make his way past Dave Smith. And looks like the pile-up has continued, because turned around is the number 23 of Jade Chandler. Round he goes, and hitting the invisible wall there for good measure. Oh no, Ryan Meyer has gone off at the exit of the last turn as well. Oh my goodness, where does this come from? McLeod in a huge incident with Gary Wellman down the front straight. They were up on 2 wheels.
Very wide out of the final corner too, and that was never going to work.
Almost, but not quite. We'll get a quick modem simulation replay of that one, try and dissect it. So Wellman was on the inside. Yeah, 3 wide coming through the final turn, and then Wellman tagged by McLeod into Damien Westbrook there. No, that's Justin Howe in the number 78. And Wellman going on an adventure up on 2 wheels, as did Mitchell McLeod. Looks like they've all managed to sort themselves out and continue, but a little bit afflicted nonetheless.
Yeah, I imagine there'll probably be a bit of damage on those trucks with how hard they hit that concrete wall, but don't seem to be struggling too much at the moment. But we'll wait and see what happens as this race progresses on. But it's certainly on at the front at the moment, and you've got Todd Maxfield and Daniel Stevens going side by side through Loogie Heights, and Matt Stevens is going to take advantage of that. But it certainly is all on at the moment, going on everywhere.
Yes, indeed, and looks like the top half of the field giving each other a little bit more space now as we focus on Rambler and the number 57, trying to fend off Lockie Dalton and Martin Turner, round 2 winner. There's Daniel Stevens up the inside then of Ashley Norman. They tag each other on the exit. Norman keeps the power in, and Stevens having to really back out of that one.
Really did have to back out of that one to make sure that he didn't end up doing extra circles, but he's managed to keep it going at least and keep it straight for the time being. But it's definitely compromised the exit on the way through the final corner, and now Rambler's going to have a good advantage, and same with Dalton too.
And there goes Ben Snell as well up into second place, having overtaken Damien Westbrook into turn 1. As Rambler setting the fastest lap so far of a 1 minute 48.3. Not a bad showing there, considering the fastest qualifying times were in the high 47s. The Daniel Stevens has a bit of work to do coming up as Rambler creeps up behind him here for 6th place. It's a huge line of cars behind them as well. We've still got Lockie Dalton and Martin Turner in contention there, as I'm seeing Ryan Meyer and Nicholas Walsh a bit further back in the field going side by side as well through these turns. And it looks like Philip Howe's going to try and take advantage as there's big lockups into the hairpin just up ahead of them. Trying round the outside, Nicholas Walsh, I think he might just get this here on Ryan Meyer if he can stick it through into Siberia. No, it looks like Meyer a bit more brave on the brakes, able to maintain the outside line. Well, he's still in it for sure.
Definitely not out of it at all, and you can see he's all over the back end and the bumpers of the number 22 of Nicholas Walsh, and Walsh is trying everything he can, but Meyer's applying the pressure in absolute truckloads at the moment, and it's even all on at the front at the moment, just inside the top 10. You've got about 5 different cars all battling as hard as they can. Stevens, Rambler, Dalton, Norman, and Turner all going at it.
Yeah, and it looks like Ramler's going up the inside of Stevens here into the final turn, just sneaking ahead at the apex, and maybe a tiny bit of contact on the exit, but they just avoid it there. That is how close Daniel Stevens was to turning Ramler around back into the draft down the front straight, and he might have a go into turn 1 if he's feeling brave enough. Can he stick it around the outside? Well, Ramler's gone defensive, and Lockie Dalton goes, hello, how are you going? I'd like to be involved in this one as well. Ramler with a wide entry into Southern Loop, but he's gone a bit too far there, and that's allowed Daniel Stevens to slip right on through, and it looks like Dalton's going to do the same with a bit of elbowing out the way. So it looks like there he's had to give it up to 2 of the chicken up guys too, Norman and Turner.
He's lost quite a bit of ground as a result of running quite deep into the Southern Loop. Not what he's going to have wanted, but that's a little bit of a moment there.
Yeah, that's a lead change, actually, because Ben Snell's managed to get by Dwayne Priest in the lead of this one. So Ben Snell and the number 141 there. It looks like he completed the move just a little bit earlier in the lap as the Chicken Up teammates now having to face off against the recovering Rambler. Let's see how they go through the Hayshed section. Martin Turner just sliding on ahead of Rambler. How much curb they use through this section. There's so much dirt on the circuit at that point, but I guess these treaded tyres don't have to worry too much about that. And that is Turner slipping on by into Lukey Heights. Can Rambler get him back at MG? He's going to give it a red-hot go and trying to squeeze back on through as the number 16 as well. Wow. I love how close the racing gets around here as Todd Maxfield then tries his best to keep himself in this battle. The number 16 there. Wow, what a race so far as Stevens now facing up against Lockie Dalton. That's a big draft down the front stretch. Stevens going defensive. Dalton's going to try around the outside of turn 1 as Snell and Priest continue battling for the lead up ahead. Can Dalton do it? Oh, he turns it on Stevens a bit, makes contact, and the contact continues through the first turn, but give each other just enough room. Dalton sneaking back onto the circuit after a little bit of a date with the grass. Tiny tap in the mid-corner for Southern Loop, and Dalton with slightly better throttle application shuffled Stevens out onto the grass, and he catches it. So that means Lockie Dalton now has secured that position. Stevens losing 2 places. Could be more.
Could be more as Rambler's going to look to the outside, and in the background Aaron Dillon on the grass with 2 wheels as well. Oh, contact between Dalton and Norman, and Stevens is going to launch it up the inside. Bit of elbows out there as well, and Norman's going to be well off the road, nearly into the Marshall post.
Whoa, that's an interesting re-entry there into Siberia. Just managed to keep it out of the way of, oh no, someone's off there. Oh, that's Daniel Stevens and Martin Turner, who have gone very slow, and they've all occupied the same piece of racetrack. But now, oh, that's huge there for Todd Maxfield, right into the tyre barriers and carrying some heavy damage on that thing. Another interesting re-entry from Maxfield. Dave Smith having to take avoiding action. So that's going to be something that's dissected later amongst the drivers. They've got a race to complete here as Ben Snell and Dwayne Priest continue their fight.
They certainly do continue their fight, and it's anyone's guess as to who's going to come out between these two. As Howe is up and over, and he's been rolled actually by, I'm not quite sure who it was, but it was contact with someone. I think it was Tompkins and Stride ended up copping a whack from.
Well, for the lead, looks like Dwayne Priest trying to get Ben Snell back here, and he's just got it done on the run into the corner. But have a look at Snell's mid-corner and exit. He's a lot more confident there on the throttle around the outside and managed to get the move done again at turn 1. And wow, there we go. At turn 2, he just backs off a bit at the apex and stops Priest from taking any kind of action, but he'll have another chance down here at the hairpin, tipping their way into Stoner Corner, and then Priest is going to switch over to driver's right here because Snell has left the door wide open, but looks like Priest hasn't actually taken the opportunity that time round. He'll want to try and leave this as late as possible because if he gets by Snell, well, it looks like they're too close together to really be safe in this position.
Certainly not safe at all in this position, and it's, just a matter of using your head to draft each other down that front straight. He's really going to want to time this. If anything, Snell's probably going to want to actually let Priest go on by and then do the opposite on the next time by. So we'll see what happens, but it's certainly going to be very, very close between these two.
Certainly is, and Priest trying to sneak up the inside on the exit of Lukey Heights. They'll be side by side. Snell forced to compromise himself coming into MG. See if Priest can find his way through, but it looks like not going to happen this time round. Good exit though from the both of them, and Priest is going to have a very nice draft for Snell down the front straight. Just lifting off the throttle, making sure that the right side tyres are loaded up so they can go through the turn optimally, and have a look at how powerful the draft is down the front straight. Crossing the line to start the final lap here, and the move is on for the lead. Dwayne Priest is going to flit on by Ben Snell into the first corner, but can Snell maintain momentum? Looks like he can once again. Don't know what Snell is doing in that truck, because of course it is fixed setup. You can't change any of the settings, but he is driving the wheels off that thing.
Certainly is driving the wheels off that thing, and is using all the grip to his advantage that he possibly can to drive around Dwayne Priest and just leave him sitting there with his hands in his head going, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Oh, this is almost... Oh, no, there we go. Contact, there we go. Priest was a bit too late on the brakes, but it looks like they've sorted themselves out. They recovered it, and both managed to keep it on the track to boot. Good on you, Dwayne Priest, for backing off there after hitting Ben Snell. It means the race can continue for another half a lap. This fight between the leaders has been absolutely fantastic. Let's see if Ben Snell can keep defending here on the run up to Lukey Heights. Contact from bumper to bumper between the two of them. Dwayne Priest is looking very hungry here. Snell just a little bit wide to straighten out the entry into Lukey. But here on the exit is where he must be wary. He gets a bit of a better exit. Dwayne Priest is going to try and squeeze through here around the outside. Can he do the over-under and get Ben Snell in the last couple of corners? Snell has done a great job of putting his truck in exactly the right places all around this final lap. And it looks to me like with that exit, he has secured it. So coming into the final corner, the only threat he has is the mother of all drafts from Dwayne Priest. But again, it looks like he's just a bit too far back to make it work. So Ben Snell, after Silverstone saw success for him, he's going to take more success at Phillip Island with the win in race 2. And Dwayne Priest in second place, with Todd Maxfield coming home potentially for that third place. No, it looks like he's had an incident there on the final lap. For third, it's going to be Damien Westbrook. He actually comes in on there, and Aaron Dillon in fourth, side by side across the line between two drivers there. Incredible racing between Kay Donnelly and Todd Maxfield, it looked like there. Of course, Maxfield having to work his way up through the field in this race, and the expression session already beginning. It looks like M. Scott List Ramler had some issues as well. He's actually not in the session anymore, so there's been some issue there for Ramler that unfortunately we have missed, but hopefully he can jump back into the server for race 3, which is going to be coming up very soon. Those were the results ever so briefly, but during this expression session for the drivers, we're going to take a moment to catch our breaths and get ready for the final race of the night. We've got a 9-lapper coming up, and the starting order is defined by the finishing order of the race you just watched. Thanks, of course, to Hot Toddy's Heating Installs, Allstate Security Tasmania, and Scamander Coffee Mug. You're watching the Pro Truck Showdown here on SimSpeed TV. We'll be back in just a short moment.
racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh
him.
my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get involved.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
You're watching round 3 of season 2 of the Pro Truck Showdown here at Phillip Island Circuit, just off the coast of Victoria in beautiful Australia. I'm Reece Gardner and Cam Dance alongside me in the commentary box. We've already seen 2 fantastic races here tonight, but we have got one more to go, Cam, as the drivers are out there in the final few seconds of their expression session. And Ramler here, we want to highlight that he missed out on what was quite a good finish in race 1, apparently with some technical issues.
Yeah, unfortunately, we would have been on for about a 3rd or 4th place finish, and unfortunately ended up with having some network issues and dropping out in the final corner. So he's going to have to work his way through the field in this next race, unfortunately, from all the way down in 23rd. So that's going to be a lot of hard work for him, but he's going to at least give it a red hot go, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure he will, and we are on the grid now for the final race of the night. 9 laps here at Phillip Island, and that is the grid down the left-hand side of your screen. Ben Snell, of course, winning the last race after starting from 16th position. A great run through the field, and the same can be said for the likes of Aaron Dillon, Lockie Dalton, Martin Turner, and Mitchell McLeod, who all started at the back in the previous race. They got 2 more laps again to deal with here. And it's going to be a tough one for Ben Snell from the front here. But at least he is down on the driver's right, so he can properly defend into turn 1. Only a few more seconds to go until the race gets underway. Can Damien Westbrook, after finishing in 3rd, finally turn his bad luck around and finish on the podium again in the final race of the night? Or can one of the previous round winners creep up and snatch a surprise victory? We'll find out in a second. And we are away for the final race. It's a great start from Snell, but a bit of a poor start there from Dwayne Priest, and lots of drivers behind him. Damien Westbrook advancing on him into the first turn, and the field fans out one more time here at Phillip Island. Mitchell McLeod's just snuck in ahead of Daniel Stevens, and oh no, off the track Aaron Dillon. Stevens almost went off the track as well. It looks like it's all on for 3rd place, sorry, there, as Damien Westbrook has assumed 2nd place behind Ben Snell, and just running wide there is Aaron Dillon, and that's a bit awkward to do in front of the advancing pack. Stevens avoiding action there, as was Mitchell McLeod. Now can Sam Stride make his way past Dillon? It looks like he can, coming up to Honda, but Dillon really late on the brakes and hits Stevens into McLeod and sends him tumbling over.
That's not what he's going to have wanted at all. That was a big rollover for Stevens, unfortunately. And he's going to be stuck there, and it's still going on through the back in the field.
It looks like Ashley Norman shuffled off the circuit there by an incident on the exit of the hairpin. Just a bunch of drivers coming together into the one corner. And oh no, something else has happened. Aaron Dillon and Justin Howe. The 78 of Justin Howe is out. That was on the exit of Siberia. This is a chaotic first lap.
It certainly is. There's been all sorts going on, and there's still all sorts going on as well, with drivers sending it up the inside at different corners. But yeah, it's been an absolutely chaotic start for a few of these drivers, and an unfortunate one for a few of them as well, with the likes of Justin Howe. And it just looked like they came together more or less on the exit of the corner, where Howe just sort of came into the side of Aaron Dillon by the looks of it.
Yeah, that seems to be the way of it. They just got locked together and couldn't escape each other. Meanwhile, looks like Lockie Dalton has moved himself up into 3rd place. He's just gotten past Damien Westbrook, and it looks like Mitchell McLeod is going to try and make his mark on Westbrook as well, but just pulls out coming into turn 1. He's got to be wary though, because he has got Martin Turner, the winner of the last round at Silverstone, hot on his tail. Can McLeod get through into the southern loop? There is no space given from the number 73, but it's wide from Lockie Dalton just up ahead there in the number 8, and they make contact. And it looks like this is going to offer another chance here to Damien Westbrook, side by side coming through Stoner corner, the left-hander. Well, Dalton with a slightly better run, and McLeod has got the inside now on Westbrook for this hairpin. And it looks like he's going to jump on through. Westbrook with a very aggressive turn, and no, actually makes contact with McLeod and shuffles him out, and Martin Turner does the same to Westbrook, and oh no, another driver tumbling over in the form of Harry Tompkins. Looks like the drivers just can't get out of each other's hair in this race.
Yeah, they certainly can at the moment. It's still going on at the moment with Westbrook and Co all bumping and barging each other out of the way. Tompkins is looking up the left-hand side of Gary Wellman. Wellman's going to try and hold it around the outside. A little bit of contact again between the two of them.
Yeah, we briefly look here at Ryan Meyer and the number 1 who's behind Sam Stride and Cade Donnelly at the bottom of the screen. Stridey in the number 42 is going to go for the move on Donnelly. A little bit of contact at the exit of MG, at the apex rather, and he's managed to make his way through, sweeping around the outside into the penultimate corner. Good move there from Sam Stride, it seems.
Yeah, certainly using his head to make a very, very clean and very good move as well on the way through that corner. So he's managed to get that done, but he's going to lose it anyway because Donnelly and Meyer and Maxfield are all going to have to draft down the front straight. Donnelly's going to pull to the left-hand side to be on the outside for turn number 1. He's going to have enough of an overlap. We should be able to hold it around the outside and have the inside for the Southern Loop, and well and truly clears him. And now Meyer's going to try it as well around the outside.
Yeah, Cade Donnelly slipped through right before they got to the braking zone, and Stridey, it seems, has fended off Ryan Meyer into the second turn, or has he? Just went wide in the middle of the corner, and Meyer slips on through there as Cade Donnelly will look behind him to see Sam Stride off the circuit again as Maxfield has slipped through on him. So poor Sam Stride, he's got a bit more work to do before the end of this one. Meanwhile, for second place, looks like it is on between Dwayne Priest and Lockie Dalton. They've both gotten themselves their own little piece of racetrack, as that is a move up the inside. Looked like that was Ramler on Brian Trezise, and oh no, there's been another pile up just behind them. Gary Wellman and Harry Tompkins being sent for a tumble once more. Poor Harry, seriously.
Oh, he ended up on the tyres, but just managed to get off them, luckily.
Oh, so he does have some good luck coming his way tonight as we take a look at second and third here, Priest and Dalton. And Lockie trying his best to find a way through for a second place, and his previous results have not been on a podium. Oh, just be careful, Lockie. Don't want to turn Dwayne Priest around in your pursuit of a second place. So far, Dalton has finished 6th and 5th in the races so far. So this will certainly be a great run for him if he can stay in this position regardless. But have a look at the run that he's got down the front straight. And Priest can't really do anything to combat that. All he can do is stay on driver's right and try and protect the inside. But nah, Lockie Dalton very aggressive into the turn and just forces himself ahead of Dwayne Priest when it matters and into second place.
Yeah, very, very good move to get on by, and he's going to look to try and hold that place as well and be on the charge for Ben Snell, but Dwayne Priest isn't going to give this up easily. He's still all over the back of them, and Mitchell McLeod's actually not too far off the back of them as well, running actually a lot quicker lap times too, so he'll be on the back of these two in no time, and Priest all over the back, a little bit of contact between himself and Dalton for good measure.
They both managed to keep each other going. And oh wow, that is 3 wide into the hairpin. That's Sam Stride getting through on the inside, but Todd Maxfield getting him right back. Damien Westbrook has had a big off there as Sam Stride and Ramler coming together, and Ramler almost knocked completely off the circuit, and they're trading blows properly, the 42 and the 57. But it seems like they've sorted themselves out just for now. Meanwhile, Cade Donnelly and Ryan Meyer still fighting. It's 2x2 packs here, and Mitch McLeod is continuing to advance on Dwayne Priest and Lockie Dalton in second and third. Just comparing lap times, 49.4 for Dwayne Priest on the last lap. For McLeod, it was a 48.2, so 1.2 seconds faster than these guys battling for the podium. And Sam Strider, we continue looking at, trying to find his way back past Todd Maxfield for 8th and 9th place here. Oh, a little bit of contact on the exit of the penultimate turn, just letting him know that he's there. Can he slip through on the inside? It looks like he's managed to do it as Sam Stride. He's gotten it done, and they're side by side coming out of the final corner. Maxfield, though, with a slightly better exit. He was on the racing line. And have a look at Mr. Rambler right behind them. Oh, careful, Stridey and Maxfield. You don't want to make side-by-side contact on the run-up into turn one. Rambler having to slightly back out of it, and Maxfield shoving Stridey out of the way. A little bit of contact between Stride and Rambler, which continues again and again and again, coming down into the second corner. But looks like they've managed to sort themselves out, at least for the next lap. Here is the battle then for second place. Dalton and Priest now have McLeod right in their hair, and Mitch desperately looking for some space. Dwayne Priest trying to go for one up the inside here on Lockie Dalton, but Dalton on the throttle a little bit harder, goes a bit wider through the hairpin, but gets a slightly better exit and blocks Priest from attempting a move into Siberia. But if he runs wide, that's going to let him straight through. Can Priest actually put the power down? And what can Mitch McLeod do? He hasn't got a single look in here.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't, and I don't think Priest had any option going on getting that move up the inside either, because he got helped by Mitch McLeod. McLeod's going to fire it up the inside on the way up Lukey Heights on Dwayne Priest. Priest's going to try and hold it around the outside to have the inside for MG, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to just about hold on, but he's going to try anyways. Throws it right in deep. McLeod right out on the outside, managing to hold on to it very, very nicely and get the position off Priest, and then he's going to be trying to find a way on by Lockie Dalton using that draft down the front straight, and it's going to be moved on, I reckon, on the way into turn number one.
Yeah, that was the launch out of MG under acceleration that allowed McLeod to get that move done, but now he's right in the thick of it here with Lockie Dalton and Dwayne Priest in front and behind, coming round to start their sixth lap of 9 here. Our leader, Ben Snell, has nothing to worry about at the moment. He's just cruising out there on his own. 2.7 seconds is the gap to Dalton, but that might change if McLeod fires one up the inside where we think he will at the hairpin. Dalton going wide again, just trying to get that double apex action happening for the second turn here at Phillip Island. You can stick to the inside all the way through, but in cars like this, it can be faster to make a V shape out of the corner and come to the inside at the very start and very end of the turn. That's what Dalton has managed to do, and it's protected him for now here against McLeod, but no bit of contact, and Dalton sent up on 2 wheels. He loses 2 positions there, and he is off the podium. So Mitch McLeod then into second place.
And Mitch advancing very, very quickly. You want to try and do it even quicker at the moment. He's still got about 4 laps left of this race, so he has a bit of time to try and catch up to Ben Snell, who seems to be running a little bit slower lap times, so we'll see what happens, but certainly is not going to let this one go easily, is Mitch, and nor is Dwayne Priest, as he's all over the back of McLeod here.
Yeah, Priest actually going off track a fair few times, coming through Hayshed and through Lukey Heights as well. He's looking for every bit of time he can. McLeod's gone a little deep there into MG. It allows Priest to get alongside on the exit, but nothing doing for the moment. Has to try and go for the over-under into the final corner, which it looks like is going to work out for Priest. And McLeod's dipping a wheel into the grass, so Dwayne Priest then right on by into the final turn. McLeod has to yield, but he has got the draft, and he's probably going to get him right back before they even get to turn 1.
Yeah, he certainly is. Pulls out of the draft, does McLeod onto the left-hand side of the road. He's going to have the advantage on the way into turn number 1, based on what we've seen in previous editions of 2 wides into turn number 1, and he's going to clear Priest all the way out of the corner, so he's going to have that advantage, but Priest looking up the inside doesn't decide to do it in the end, and Dalton's now all over the back of Priest as well.
Yeah, and he's starting to bring some company, because Martin Turner, Kay Donnelly and Ryan Meyer are right behind these guys as well. It's almost a 6-car train for second place. It seems like the outside line at turn 1 is the way to go in these vehicles, at least. You can really hold the momentum around the outside. McLeod holding on to some momentum versus Dwayne Priest. They all run a little bit wide of the apex at the hairpin, but looks to me like McLeod has covered Priest's advances for at least the next few corners. Dalton going for a very late entry and apex to try and maximize his exit, and I think Martin Turner starting to smell blood there. Briefly checking back in with our race leader, Ben Snell. He's just on a cruise, as I said. And there is the visual gap to the battle for second behind, and that's a race of two halves there. Nice and calm up the front, but very frenetic further behind.
Yeah, it certainly is very, very frenetic, and these guys are not going to leave anything on the table. There's absolutely nothing in it between them, and it's anybody's guess as to who's going to come away with these podium spots, with how close it is between all these different drivers. It goes all the way back to Ryan Meyer, and even Ramler's not too far behind. So if they all start battling really, really hard, like Cade Donnelly fires it up the inside of Mark Turner. Turner's going to try and hold it around the outside. Not quite going to be able to do it, though. If they keep fighting like this, Ramler's going to be on the back of these guys and then with a shot of a podium.
Yeah, potentially. Have a look at Priest and McLeod, meanwhile, as the draft starts behind them. Oh, looks like it's a bump draft for Dwayne Priest on Mitch McLeod into turn one. Not going for the move that time. Well, it is the start of the penultimate lap, and Dwayne Priest knows that if he goes for a move too early, then McLeod's just going to cover him off again. So it's all about timing the move and making it stick from here.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's all about being patient from this point onward and then timing yourself to get the run and put yourself in a good position for the final lap of the race so you have the advantage at the end. But certainly they're not too far away from Ben Snell. 49.2 from McLeod, 49.5 from Ben Snell. So a little bit in favour of McLeod, but it's certainly going to be very, very close at the rate that they're going.
I want to have a look at the 11th place battle as well, as Priest tries again on McLeod at Siberia, because have a look at this. Brian Trazees heading up there in 10th place, and Ashley Norman right in the thick of it with Todd Maxfield and Damien Westbrook. Maxfield ran off the track on the exit of turn one and has been trying his best to hold on to that position ever since. So these four right in the battle pack for the final position in the top 10. Brian currently holding on to it. Sam Stride just up ahead, and oh no, that is a problem for the 22 of Nicholas Walsh. Don't know what corner that is at, but doesn't seem like it's too far away from these guys. As wow, right off the track goes Ashley Norman, trying his best to hold on with Brian Trazees up ahead. See if any moves are made down at MG. Westbrook looked a bit hungry there, but we check back in on the lead-ish pack coming through the final turn. Of course, Ben Snell you cannot see because he's all the way out in front again by 2.7 seconds, crossing the line to start his final lap here at Phillip Island. McLeod versus Priest for the final two positions on the podium. Can Lockie Dalton take advantage of any biffo between them? There goes Priest down the inside of McLeod, but once again, the outside seems to be the place to be, and Dalton knows that. He's gotten a little bit of a run there on Dwayne Priest. Couldn't quite take advantage of it, but a little bit of contact there will help to distract Priest, let him know he's there, but might not be Dalton at all. It'll be Cade Donnelly, actually, who takes the advantage there. Goes through on Dalton as Ryan Meyer losing ground on Martin Turner just behind. Side by side again between Priest and McLeod. McLeod on the inside coming into the hairpin. What a great view here from Dwayne Priest. Just has to let McLeod go at the apex, but he's got a few more braking zones to go. He can fire one up the inside pretty much any time he wants. So next set of corners is the hay shed. It's completely flat out in these trucks, so you don't stand much of a chance of losing out unless you're completely side by side. McLeod had a bit of a gap over Dwayne Priest there, but let's see if Dwayne can keep it going here, carry the momentum into Lukey Heights. Mitchell McLeod just runs a little bit wide of the curb, but that's okay. He stays roughly middle of the circuit. Doesn't quite allow Priest to get through on the inside. He has one heck of an attempt, but has to back out of it and gets tapped by Cade Donnelly, and they both come together, and Priest now off the podium. Cade Donnelly now in third place, and it looks like Lockie Dalton's going to get fourth out of that as well. Oh, but Dalton up the inside of Donnelly at the final corner. That's for the final podium position. It looks like he's just going to get it done, but he's concertinaed back into Dwayne Priest again. They're side by side across the line. Martin Turner's going to try and make it three wide. Snell's already won. McLeod in second. But who on earth is the rest of the top six? It's Lockie Dalton by 0.5 of a second over Cade Donnelly. It was only 0.04 between Donnelly and Priest for fourth place.
Yeah, ridiculous margin between that little group there in the end across the line. It was anybody's guess as to who was going to take that. I did think it was possibly going to be the likes of Dwayne Priest, who might have just edged out ahead, but not quite to be in the end.
Well, Ben Snell is going to celebrate a fantastic victory there. It was a very dominant display, and Mitchell McLeod fighting his way up from 7th to 2nd. Something to be said about that too. Lockie Dalton from 5th to 3rd. Kay Donnelly from 14th place all the way up to 4th. That's one of the best drives of the night, I reckon. Unfortunately, Priest and Turner couldn't quite take advantage of the chaos around them, and M. Scott List Rambler returning to the server after a non-result in race 2 finishes an 8th. Stride in 9th, and Brian Trezise rounds out the top 10 in that very intense battle that we saw.
And you're going to have Ashley Norman just outside the top 10, followed by Maxfield, Westbrook, Howell, and Bellman rounding out the top 15. Then you get the Tompkins, Walsh, Chandler, Stevens, Allen rounding out the top 20, with Aaron, Dylan, Justin Howell, and Dave Smith all retirements.
It's a big shame for those three, and unfortunately Alex Court and Mitch Dean did not take the start in the final race of the night. Shame for Alex Court. He would have started 12th in that circumstance. Well, that is the end of it as the drivers celebrate the end of another fantastic round of the Pro Truck Showdown. The big question is, where are we going to be racing next round? Because like you, we don't find out until it's decided we find out. Generally, Friday is when the next track is announced, but if you want a bit of a look-in, make sure to look up Pro Truck Showdown on Facebook, where you can find a link to join the Discord server, and you will be one of the first to be notified when next week's track is announced. You'll also be able to have a lob in the league against all of these drivers. A big thanks once again to Scamander Coffee Mug, to Allstate Security Tasmania, to Hot Toddy's Heating Installs for their support of this series. And we want to thank the guys at the Pro Truck Showdown for getting this whole thing off the ground and providing us some great entertainment on a Wednesday night. I'm Reese Gardner. It was Cameron Dance alongside me in the commentary box, and it was Jay Kennedy on the cameras, making everything happen behind the scenes. We'll see you next Wednesday for round 4 of the Pro Truck Showdown here on SimSpeed TV.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get involved.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?